My name's Thomas Waddle. This is the Whisky Sour Hour. Happy New Year. I don't want to be the guy that's saying that, you know, like, what are we, 3 weeks into the year almost, and I'm saying that, but Happy New Year, first episode of the new year, and it's quite a landmark one in the sense that 365 days ago, this was the episode 0 launch. Now, I can't really believe that. I can't believe we've been doing this for a year. It's flown in, and without the messages, and even going on just to have a look at the numbers over the festive period there to see that there's people out there still listening, it's wild. So from the bottom of my heart, it means the world, and thank you for the continued and prolonged support that we've been getting, and just let's make this a great year. I was in Tenerife at the time when the first episode went live, and I was in this little cocktail place called La Cocteria, which sounds like a venereal disease, but it isn't, I promise. And I just remember being like, oh man, should I be doing this? And, you know, well, that many episodes in now, I think the answer was aye. It's been a lot of fun, great creative outlet, and I just wanted to open up by saying that thank you very much. Now, off the back of that, now episode 0 was like a wee trailer. The first proper kind of episodes we done were like looking forward into the year, and I did originally have like a huge list of movies, and I was like, man, I don't think people want to listen to a complete breakdown at every single movie that's coming out. So what I've done is I've picked the big hitters, and I've got some honourable mentions as well. So I'm going to run through the films over the next 12 months, and just as a wee kind of aside, if there's any other ones that I'm like, oh, by the way, honourable mention, here we go, we'll slap that into where it should be. But it's quite a slow year. You know, we're no big in horror movies, so I think Scream's out next month. I didn't even look at it, I'll be honest. It's just not my thing. Just not my thing. No, because I'm scared or anything like that. Just, you know, I'd battle Scream, but no, I'm just not a big fan. So horror movies are not here, unfortunately, unless it's like something like Weapons or that. I think there's a Mummy movie coming out, which I know very little about, but I seen a poster and I was like, oh, that's a bit freaky. That, what's this? So that's the kind of lay down of what it's going to be. So to me, summer is not when you think it would be. Like, the movie season, summer movie season for me can start as early as March. Alright, it's that early. I'm that early that I'm battering my keypad here and it's just broke. So it can start that early. April usually is when it kicks off. If you remember back in the day, I'm talking like 10 years ago, so for instance, like Batman vs Superman came out at the end of March, and then like a month later Captain America Civil War came out. So I mean, that kicks everything off. People will say like, you know, like April, May time, but when you're getting big movies like that, it's kind of hard to deny, hold on, there's something big going on here. So with that being said, the kind of one that kicks off, and it kind of raised an eyebrow, because it's no one that I really ever expected to see again. I thought it was going to bomb quite hard. The Super Mario Galaxy movie is coming out. I'll be honest, my household was a Sega household back in the day. Like, I never dealt with Mario. The closest thing to Nintendo that I came to was the Pokemon, and I loved Pokemon back in the day. Still do love Pokemon. All my Twitter is just, oh, look at this nice artwork here from Pokemon back in the day. that is what it is. So Super Mario came out, and it was a massive success. First video game movie to get over $1 billion at the box office, something ridiculous like that. It's coming out. Chris Pratt was ridiculed because he had a fake Italian accent, or put a twang in his accent, and that was really it, after doing like Garfield and stuff. And listen, it's guy's doing a job at the end of the day, and it's Super Mario. Like, I mean, he shouts his name and stuff. I'm not a big Super Mario guy, and I was never mad into it. So, this is coming out now. Mario Galaxy. I do know that Mario Galaxy is a very highly, like, I was going to say sought after, but it's highly regarded game in the Mario pantheon. That is, you know, Mario 64. I think Sunshine. I remember it coming out, but I don't remember if it's like loved. But you've got Mario Galaxy, and I think there's Odyssey as well, which is funny enough because that might be a film that's on the list, not Mario Odyssey, but The Odyssey. But Mario's coming out. I'll be totally honest. I thought the first one was going to bomb. I thought this one, or I feel like this one is probably just going to do the same. Probably not going to be as popular, I don't think. Maybe just a smidge below. Will probably crack $1 billion at the worldwide box office in dollars, which is ridiculous. It's just when you hear that kind of money, you're just like, jeez, with the likes of Avatar and that doing it for fun. So with that one coming out, I'm sure it's going to be good. And another kind of wee connection with the Odyssey, oddly enough, is I believe Benny Safdie, who's one of the directors of the Safdie, that one half of the Safdie brothers, and he done the Wrecking Machine with the Dwayne the Rock Johnson last year. He does the voice of the bad guy. I want to say it's Bowser Jr. Again, I'm not a big guy. If it's no Robotnik or Sonic, I don't want to see nothing about it. But he's in that, and he's also in the Odyssey. I think he's the guy in the clip for the Odyssey with the massive helmet on his head, obviously. And it's Super Mario Galaxy's coming out in April. Your kids are going to go daft for it. The theme parks around the world are doing like crazy numbers, and I mean, I don't know why it just pops up on my YouTube, because maybe like I watch these like food reviews, and it's like a mushroom burger, but it's like in the shape of like the kind of one-up mushrooms from Super Mario. Listen, that's pretty cool, man. I'd probably go to that over like Disney, just because I'm not a big Disney guy. I was the Warner Brothers on Buchanan Street store kind of guy. So Super Mario is coming out April 3rd. Mark it in your calendars. I'm sure your kids are going to go and see it, and that's pretty much going to dominate April. Like, I think it's going to just wipe everything else out. May is going to come along, and there's 2 honourable mentions in here. So number 1 is The Devil Wears Prada, coming right at the beginning of May. Devil Wears Prada 2. The first one was, it doesn't feel like that long ago. It was like 20 years ago, which is ridiculous. Anne Hathaway and Meryl Streep are just going to I guarantee you it's going to be good. And if it's anything like Mad About the Boy, Bridget Jones last year, I'm probably going to be crying at it, and I can't believe I'm saying that. So Devil Wears Prada 2, iconic is probably the word that you would use for it. That. So I'm putting it in there as an honourable mention. I don't know how it will do. I imagine it will do pretty well. It's one that you go maybe to see at like maybe a more upmarket kind of cinema, maybe a wee like private screening, maybe Everyman Theatre, get yourself a little meal before it. You make a night of it. It's not just, you don't just turn up with your popcorn and that. You sit down, maybe a little wine, maybe a little spritzer in there. You enjoy that. That's kind of what you're wanting. Then on the 15th of May, and this is like whiplash tonally here, you've got Mortal Kombat 2, which I'm all about, and I had it in the Sega. I had like the blood codes back in the day, man. So I am going to go and see this, absolutely. But at the same time, am I expecting an award-winning movie? Absolutely not. The first one came out during COVID, and I wouldn't say it knocked your socks off, but it was fun, and it was like faithful enough to the games. But at the same time, there was like stuff happening. I was like, that wouldn't happen in the games. Probably just because the games actually have like a ridiculously good and kind of confusing story with time travel and stuff like that. So it's maybe one that I would like stick a pin in it and think like, right, let's maybe just see how it kind of pans out, because like reviews are one thing, but see if like people start coming and going, by the way, that is terrible, then maybe let's just take a step back, hold off, wait till maybe it comes to like HBO Max, which sidebar guys is releasing in March. Now I know a lot of folk have like the piracy, they sail the high seas with their fire sticks, but I'm not really that guy. I'd rather just like rather than like, I tried to finish a stream and a guy walked in front of the cinema. It's like I don't want to do that. I want like the best sound, the best picture. Let's just pay the like £5 a month or £5 for a month, and then binge everything, and then just get out of there. So maybe wait till it goes to that if you're not 100%. But Mortal Kombat 2, May 15, kind of breaking it up a little bit. We then jump on to I don't know if I don't know like where this lands, because again I used to, it's kind of like one of the ones like you think something's going to be good, or you think maybe it's not going to be good in your opinion, like like it's no for you, right? I'm not going to stop MD for liking it, but it's maybe no for you. Star Wars is like on a bit of a tailspin at the moment now. As we record this, Kathleen Kennedy has left. She is like the kind of creative drive overseer of the franchise, or Lucas, or any LucasArts, Lucasfilm kind of projects, so Indiana Jones, all that kind of stuff, has left the premises, and it's been taken over by Dave Filoni now. I was never a Star Wars guy growing up, and I was like the right age for it, because when it came out, I remember it was everywhere. I still remember like Pepsi having like, I want to say like, you know, like cups and stuff, and I don't know if like that's like fake memories, like maybe that didn't come out here and I've just seen pictures as I've got older and it actually was in America, but I'm pretty sure I remember like vending machines with like Anakin Skywalker with like his racing helmet on. Like maybe I'm wrong, and I had one of those like wee like LCD, no even LCD, like those kind of like handheld toys, the Tiger Electronic kind of ones, and it was like a kind of race thing. It was absolutely terrible. And I remember these wee biscuits, I think they were just like animal kind of, you know, the half covered animal cracker kind of things, but it was like Darth Maul's head, and I remember just thinking, these are lovely, and I used to like drink them. I used to eat, I might as well be drinking them. I used to take like one, put it in my mouth, and then I would take like a mouthful of milk and just let it melt. But we're getting sidetracked here. The reason I'm saying that is I'm not a Star Wars guy. I'm a bit like outside that circle. I know that the films themselves and the TV shows have kind of not really been hitting the mark recently, and the one that I have saw recently, and I'm talking about like in the last kind of 5 years, was The Mandalorian, and we've now got The Mandalorian and Grogu. Now, I have saw the trailer, I watched the trailer again for this because I remember like not remembering much about it, so when I went back and watched it, my kind of big takeaway was, it just feels like an episode of the show, and I think that's to the point that you're damning it with faint praise, because when you actually look at it, you're like, that looks great, but the TV show looked great. And remember, like back in the day, maybe if it was like a cartoon, it would have like an extra bit of shading. Like, so if it was like the Simpsons movie, or just a little bit more detailed. But when it comes to like movies, and there was like a big jump for like live action TV shows. And I'm not comparing them. Like, I'm not saying Star Wars, Star Trek, or anything, because like Star Trek's always better. You know what I mean? But when the Star Trek TV show jumped to the big screen, you were like, oh man, that's you can see a massive shift. The Star Wars TV shows look that good that why not just watch this at home? And I think that's maybe going to affect the overall price of it, you know, or the overall box office return, which is going to be crazy. Hopefully it's good, and I'm saying that as someone, I just want folk to have a good time going to the cinema, and the last thing I want is for people to be disappointed. So I'm hoping The Mandalorian Grogu lands where it needs to. I don't know where it goes from there, just because the same thing, for anybody that doesn't know, this is like set before like the last or the most recent movie, so it's like set in the past, so there's only so much you can do with it. And Star Trek has that kind of issue as well, where it's like it hasn't really passed a certain point, and it keeps just living in the past. And you know, like the newer stuff is maybe a wee bit in the future. Again, I've not watched it, I will be honest with you. So it's The Mandalorian, when I watched that back in like 2020, I think it was like the height of COVID. What else was it to do but binge TV shows? I really enjoyed it. I haven't kind of stayed up to date with the more recent stuff, and same with like Star Trek. Now we're getting off track there, but I think it's got a problem with moving forward, and maybe that could put people off as well. They're like, well, if I know we don't know these characters in the newer movies which are set after it, or the older movies which are set after it, then why am I going to go and see this? Because I know at the end of the day nothing's really going to matter. I'm just saying, devil's advocate here, that's maybe what people are saying. I hope it does well, and I hope the people that want to like it, and I hope it brings new people in, because there's just too much negativity going on here. We want to make sure it's good and good fun, and at the end of the day, it's all just about having a good time. That leads us in to June, and it's the end of June, so there's going to be like, you know, a wee bit of time here, you know, to maybe watch that little artistic movie that you're buzzing about to watch. It's Toy Story Toy Story 5, which is ridiculous. I'm putting that as my honourable mention because it was going to be on the list, and then I remembered sitting down, and I've seen Toy Story 1, obviously it's like the Toy Story trilogy is a staple. Like Toy Story 1 came out, I remember Toy Story 2 coming out, and like there was like clips of it on GMTV, like folk were going daft for it, and like it's amazing. Al's Toy Barn, like I'm quoting it, and it's like 26 years removed. Toy Story 3 comes out, and as a 18-year-old, I went and saw that, and it broke me. Like I didn't know who was going to live, who was going to die. Why am I feeling these things about a movie? And I was done. I was Andy. I'd put the toys in the box, and I'd gave them to the small child, and that was it. And then Toy Story 4 comes out, and I don't remember anything about it, and that's poor. And I don't like. I like sequels, right? If I enjoy being in a world, I want to spend more time in it. I don't mind like the older Marvel movies and the kind of DC stuff, which is like always heavy here. But I know some people are like, there's not enough original ideas, and I get that. But I do enjoy a sequel. I didn't really enjoy Toy Story 4, and it kind of sullied. It doesn't change the fact how good the original 3 are, but it kind of sullies the name a wee bit, because you see Toy Story and you think prestige, you think that's winning the Oscar for best animated feature. I had to put it as an honourable mention here, just because. Alright, like I'm shrugging my shoulders. I don't know if you can. You're just alright. Fair enough. We're done. Like Toy Story 5, we're just milking it a bit too much here. Even do a spin-off. I remember like Timothy Dalton done the voice of Mr. Pricklepants. Again, Toy Story 3. Remember the names of characters. What happened in Toy Story 4? I think Bo Peep returned. Like Bo Peep. That was it. Honourable mention, Toy Story. If we go then to the end of June, there's a wee movie called Supergirl. No, whoa, simmer down. I know you heard enough of me talk about Superman last year, right? I seen the trailer for this. I'm excited for it, man. I think it's going to be good. I think Jason Momoa is going to just again steal the show, just because he's that good. I'm a bit like what's going to happen here. I'd seen people complaining, right, and they were saying, "Oh, James Gunn only does Guardians of the Galaxy movies," and I was like, "Well, let me stop you right there. This is Craig Gillespie, all right, different director. And so what if it looks like Guardians of the Galaxy, especially Guardians 1, because that is a great movie." Simmer down. I think this is going to be good. I think it's going to have legs. I think it's going to carry into the summer a wee bit. Now, I know that there's a movie coming up no far after it, which I'm a wee bit thinking, oh man, that might eat a wee bit of the pizza here. But Supergirl is coming up. It's the next kind of movie in the DC universe. Now you do have other films in the pipeline, but this is like the next one in the kind of Gods and Monsters Part 1 it's called. So I'm on board with it. I loved Superman last year. I know it wasn't for everybody, but I rewatched it over the festive period there, and it holds up, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm ready for this. The small cameo, which isn't a spoiler now, we're nearly a year removed, but small cameo from Kara Zor-El, Supergirl. Listen, we're there for it. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun, and that's all I want when you go to the cinema. Like, if you feel a wee bit different, that way when like the final like scene of the film happens and the credits start and that music's playing, and you carry yourself a wee bit different. You feel a bit cool. I think that's what you're going to get with this movie. All excited for it. 26th of June, here we come. Now that prelude I gave there to. There might be a big film coming out no long after it, a month later, and I'm saying this as someone who is not like the biggest fan of this interpretation, but there's a new Spider-Man coming out a month later, brand new day. Now the reason I say I'm not a fan of it is because, listen, I grew up with Tobey Maguire, and then Andrew Garfield came on, and you're like, impossible task. Movies that arguably aren't as good as the other Spider-Man movies at the time. Andrew Garfield was the best thing in it. Like his charisma, the charisma he had with Emma Stone, unbelievable, unrivaled. And then Spider-Man came along in the MCU. I'm not a big fan of Tom Holland's interpretation of it. I'm just going to say it. I don't care about the school stuff. Never did. I think take Spider-Man to New York. It's just not that exciting. I'd hated it in the TV shows. I remember back in the day, the kids like watching, like I'm talking about when I was a kid, watching like Spider-Man. I think he went to like either like Moscow or London or something like that. Who cares? I did not care. The other Spider-Man movies are like, he's elsewhere. Even the last one, it's at the time we were all buzzing because we were coming out of COVID 2021 and made like ridiculous amounts of money. But when you watch it again, there's issues with that movie, like the way it's laid out. The COVID restrictions become like, you can kind of see where the seams are stretching, just about to snap, and I think it could have done more. Like, it kind of meanders like a good bit before it kind of gets to the good stuff. But again, it's fine. But again, it just shows how much better Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are as Spider-Man, because you're like, I want to see more of that. So hopefully they turn up maybe later on in another like movie that's coming out. But yeah, Spider-Man's coming out. One of my big issues with it was the suit. I think that's maybe been rectified here. If you remember back to last year when they were filming in Glasgow, that's a pretty fly suit. It looks really good, and I'm hoping that they don't really change too much with it. So that's hopefully an exciting turn there happens. I'm mild on it. I'm thinking it's a fresh start, fresh director. Daniel Destin Cretton. He done Shang-Chi. No, my favourite Marvel movie. Like, again, it's kind of like Toy Story we said earlier, washed over me. Don't really know much or remember much about it. The stunts were good. I remember there was a chase or a fight in a bus. That was quite exciting. So if going on what we saw with the action sequences in Glasgow, it could be quite exciting. But then watch this, he'll be in like Philadelphia and all that chat I just said about like how Spider-Man shouldn't be outside of New York. I'm like, I've ruined it for myself. But that movie's going to make ridiculous money in it. Kids are going to go daft for it. Adults are going to go daft for it. And there's like a kind of weird kind of fixation on like celebrity culture with like Tom Holland and Zendaya. So it's just one of those ones. We'll just have to see how it goes. Staying within July, which was the biggest film month last year as well, for releases, no so much for box office or that. But we then have The Odyssey, not Super Mario Odyssey, The Odyssey, Christopher Nolan. Not much is known about it. There's been a couple of screens here and there, and there was a trailer. People are up in arms saying it's not historically accurate. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's The Odyssey is a story. It's not real. Buzzing. It's just everything I want. The cast is crazy. Tom Holland's going to have a big month. That month he's in there. Matt Damon, Robert Pattinson. It's just going to be unreal. Anne Hathaway, she's having a big year. I can't really say too much about it just because we've seen a couple of clips, a couple of screenshots. The trailer did not give away much. It's exciting, man. It's a Chris Nolan movie, so it's going to be an event. So like you've had Oppenheimer. We're going to this. We'll probably have something really heavy after this just to kind of cleanse his palate. I'm sure Ludwig Göransson's score is going to be amazing. What else can you say really about it apart from the fact that it's going to be good. It's going to be worth seeing in the cinema and probably IMAX. So hopefully there's an IMAX with reclining seats, because that's my only issue is IMAX doesn't really have reclining seats. Let's get that in. Sort it, guys. Come on, Silverburn, having words with yourself here. But my comfort aside, that is just going to be a film to see at the cinema. In July, I did make a wee mistake. I should have put this one before Superman, Spider-Man. But here we are. We're running live. Mistakes happen. That is just what we're going to have to do. 17th of July it is. And there is like a few other kind of films coming out in the year, but nothing that really jumped out at me. I put some kind of December. That's how far along we're going to have to be going. For like it's a wild month. Just going to put it that way. There's Jumanji 3. These are just honourable mentions. I'm not the last couple of Jumanji movies have done crazy. Don't really know how. The first one was, I'm not talking about the original, but the Rock one, it was fine, but made nearly $1 billion. I don't know why. Crazy. There's a third one coming out. There we are. And Ice Age, I I mean, is that still going? 2002, I remember the first one came out and did not see another one after it. I was the right age, it was 10. I should have some fondness for it, but there's just something about that. I think it's a Blue Sky animation. Just not a fan. Despicable Me? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Cannot stand it. So, for the Ice Age fans out there, I hope it's good. Other than that, in December though, we do have some pretty big movies, right? And I'm going to preface this by saying I know I'm ragging the Marvel films. Avengers Doomsday is coming out, and it seems to be basically just a X-Men movie. I think it kind of validates what we're saying, the fact that everything other than Fantastic Four and I think like the last Avengers movie seems to be all that matters. Like that kind of shows just how little faith Marvel has in the kind of recent slate that they put out. So I'm sure it will make plenty of money. It's been pushed back to December 18th, I believe, for like just to basically allow the filming to get done, just because it's going to be that big. My issue is it going back to the well again, getting the Russo brothers back, getting the band back together with, you know, Thor, Captain America. It feels like they just left. And I know there was a Thor Love and Thunder, but we don't really talk about that. But we can only see how it goes. That normally would be, you'd be like, right, that's the big one. The same day, and it's been called Doomsday, is Dune Part 3. It might be called Messiah, but I think it's just going to be called Part 3. Is out that day as well. Dune is everything that you want in a movie. Epic, fun. It is. I'm going to say it. I think it's like a modern Lord of the Rings-esque style of movie. They just flow so well together. The first one came out a year after it was supposed to. It was supposed to be 2020, and I remember that delay coming, and I was just like, oh no, I can't do this. And then it came out in 21. It was great, funny story. I actually booked the tickets for it, not realising it was actually Kilmarnock Cinema and not Linwood, so I had to like fly to the like East Ayrshire to get there rapid so I could go and see it. But the films are just great. The third one, I have no reason to doubt Danny Villeneuve. My only concern is the book itself isn't what I would call a classic, but it's an adaptation, isn't it? They're going to cut and bend stuff, and I mean, I think the fact that they were even getting a Dune Messiah adaptation is you should be happy it's happening, and I believe that the team behind these movies understand how important they are, how big they are, and the reach that they've got. They're respectful to the source material, and if you know that you're going to have a team that loves the source material as much as what they do, they can make changes, and you appreciate it, and you're like, you know what, that was fine. It's like, I'm going to die in the hill here. Tom Bombadil, the Lord of the Rings character, was the best thing to do was to cut that out the movie, and they did it. And I hate that part of the book, and I'm glad they've done it. So I'm sure they'll do stuff similar to that with Dune, Dune, geez, not a month. So Avengers Doomsday is happening the 18th of December. Somebody's going to move. I hope Dune comes out a wee bit earlier, maybe in November or the October. It was in March for the second one, October for the first one. It was a weird rollout. If you remember the first one, it came out like it was over a month, and it kind of got rolled out gradually. It was bizarre. It's going to be a good year. The fact that, you know, we've got huge films filming. You've got the Batman is coming to Glasgow again. That's exciting. Your casting announcements for it are coming thick and fast. So it's going to be a good time. Everything seems to be kind of back up to speed once COVID was out of the way. The strikes were out of the way. we're kind of back up and running. There's also obviously like another honourable mention, just kind of ones I'm just looking through my list here to be like, is there any Clayface DC horror movie kind of coming out? It's going to be, you know, it looks pretty gruesome. It's going to be its own thing. It's not going to be a part of the kind of DC kind of horror kind of stuff. And I know we're talking, not even half an hour ago, I was saying, oh, horror movies, I like it if they're done well. This could be done well. Like I says, that Mummy movie looks pretty good, so we'll see how it goes. And that's us really just rounding out the episode. It's a landmark in a sense that this is the year anniversary for the first episode 0 going live. It's been a pleasure, like we said at the beginning of the show, just to thank everybody for the support. If you want to get in touch, contact at thewhiskeysourhour.com is the way to do it, or send us a DM, slide in the DMs, which we've had a few and I really appreciate them. So make sure you're doing that. Give us a like, follow, subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Do it to them all. It costs nothing and it means a great deal to me, and it really does help kind of get the show out there. And on that note, I've been Thomas Waddle. This has been the Whisky Sour Hour. Cheers.